Hello, my dear friends. Glowing star. Welcome to another inspiring journey. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to thank you for being here. Your support, your time, and your presence mean so much. If you enjoy stories about dreams, challenges, and triumphs, please don't forget to subscribe and join our community. I wish you peace, strength, and joy as you listen to this story. Now, let's begin. Basketball sparkles. The boy with a ball. Ethan grew up in a small town where the streets cracked under summer heat and winters felt too long. His family didn't have much. His father worked double shifts at a factory, and his mother cleaned houses. But for Ethan, all he needed was a ball and a rim nailed above the garage door. That rim was crooked, rusting, and barely high enough. But to Ethan, it was Madison Square Garden. Every evening, while the sun dipped behind the hills, he practiced. The thump of the ball against concrete was his heartbeat, the swoosh of the netless rim his symphony. He wasn't tall yet, he wasn't strong yet, but his dream towered above all else. One day, I'll be the best basketball player. Schoolyard struggles. At school, Ethan carried his ball everywhere. To class, to lunch, even to the library. Kids laughed. "Hey, Jordan wannabe. You'll never make it, man. You're too small." Ethan forced a smile, but inside it hurt. When they picked teams, he was often chosen last. His jumper clanged off rims, his dribbles fumbled under pressure. But Ethan had something the others didn't see. He refused to quit. After every humiliation, he stayed longer at the court. He missed 100 shots, then took 100 more. He lost games, then replayed every mistake in his mind, imagining how he'd fix them. The mentor. One chilly autumn evening, while Ethan was shooting alone at the cracked court, a tall man in an old varsity jacket stopped by. He leaned on the fence, watching quietly. "You've got fire, kid," the man finally said. But fire without focus burns out. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead. "Who are you?" "Coach Reynolds. I used to play. Now I train kids. You want to get better?" Ethan's eyes widened. "More than anything. Then meet me here tomorrow at 6 a.m., Reynolds said. "Bring your shoes. Bring your heart. Leave your excuses." The next morning, Ethan was there before dawn. It was the first step of a journey that would change everything. The pain of discipline. Coach Reynolds didn't sugarcoat training. Again, faster, lower, shoot till your arms forget how to miss. Ethan's muscles screamed. His legs felt like stone. But every time he wanted to quit, Reynolds' voice cut through. "Champions are made when nobody's watching." At school, Ethan still got mocked. His grades slipped because of exhaustion. His father shook his head. "You're wasting time on this game. It won't put food on the table." But Ethan couldn't stop. Something inside him burned too brightly. The first small victory. Weeks later, during gym class, Ethan shocked everyone. A fast break, a crossover, and a jump shot that splashed through clean. Then another. Then a third. The same kids who laughed before started whispering. His PE teacher raised an eyebrow. Even the varsity coach, passing through, paused for a moment. Ethan walked home that day with sore legs, blistered hands, and a grin that refused to fade. For the first time, he felt it. Progress. The wall. But dreams never come easy. Winter arrived. Outdoor courts froze. The school team had tryouts, and Ethan showed up with his heart pounding. He dribbled well, shot decently, but against taller, stronger boys, he looked small. Weak. Out of place. The coach posted the results on the bulletin board. Ethan scanned the names. His wasn't there. His chest caved in. The whispers returned. "Told you. Not good enough." That night, Ethan sat alone in his room, ball in his lap, tears he didn't want to admit streaking down his face. But as the silence pressed in, a thought rose louder than his doubt. "I won't quit. Not now. Not ever." The setback was real. The pain was sharp. But Ethan's journey had only just begun. With Reynolds' guidance, his own grit, and the fire of his dream, the boy with the crooked rim would keep fighting for something greater. Because basketball wasn't just a game to Ethan. It was his destiny. Hello again, my dear listeners. Glowing Star. Thank you for coming back for the second part of Ethan's story. Before we continue, let me remind you, if you enjoy these journeys of persistence, passion, and triumph, please subscribe and share this with friends. Your support helps keep these stories alive. I wish you strength, courage, and inspiration as we move forward. Now, let's continue. Basketball sparkles. Picking up the pieces. The night Ethan's name wasn't on the tryout list, his world crumbled. He wanted to burn his sneakers, to quit, to bury the ball under his bed forever. But the next morning, Coach Reynolds knocked on his door. Ethan's mother, with tired eyes and hands red from cleaning chemicals, let him in. "Kid," Reynolds said, "I heard you didn't make it." Ethan didn't lift his head. "I'm not good enough." Everyone was right. Reynolds crouched. "Basketball doesn't owe you success. You owe it your effort. You ready to give more?" Something in Ethan's chest flickered back to life. Slowly, he nodded. "Then meet me at the rec center tomorrow. Indoor court. No excuses." The grind intensifies. The recreation center was old, with flickering lights and warped floorboards, but to Ethan it was heaven. Every morning before school, every evening after homework, he met Reynolds. The drills doubled in intensity. Ladders for footwork until his calves shook. Hundreds of jump shots until his arms felt numb. Dribbling 2 balls at once until sweat soaked the floor. Again, Reynolds demanded. Again. Some nights Ethan limped home barely able to stand. His father shook his head. "This obsession won't feed you." But his mother quietly slipped him an extra sandwich for energy. "If it's your dream, chase it, son." Facing the bullies. At school, the taunts continued. Jason, captain of the varsity squad, sneered. Reynolds' little charity case. "You think you'll take my spot? You'll be lucky to sit on the bench." Ethan clenched his fists but didn't reply. Instead, he poured the anger into the court. One lunch break, Jason challenged him, one-on-one. Half the school crowded around. Ethan's hands trembled, but he remembered Reynolds' words. "Play your game, not theirs." Jason was taller, stronger. But Ethan was quicker. He faked left, drove right, and, swish. Then another jumper. Then a floater. Jason finally blocked him hard, sending him sprawling. The crowd gasped. Ethan hit the ground, ribs aching, but stood back up. "I'm not done," he said. Though Jason won in the end, people noticed. For the first time, whispers carried respect. Summer of sweat. When summer came, most kids went to the lake or played video games. Ethan lived at the court. Sun up to sundown, he trained. Reynolds brought in older players, ex-college athletes, streetball legends, to toughen him up. They pushed Ethan to the edge. Elbows flew, trash talk burned, shots were swatted into fences. But each day, Ethan learned. His crossover tightened. His jumper grew quicker. His stamina stretched. By August, the skinny boy who once couldn't finish a layup was dunking on lowered rims, then chasing full-height dreams. The first break. One evening during an open gym, a local scout watched quietly from the bleachers. He saw Ethan diving for loose balls, clapping for teammates, pushing himself when others quit. Afterward, he approached Reynolds. "That kid, he's raw. But he's got heart. With polish, he could play varsity." Reynolds nodded. "That's the plan." Ethan overheard. His chest swelled. Finally, someone outside the small circle believed. Another setback. But life wasn't done testing him. That fall, during practice, Ethan landed awkwardly after a layup. Pain shot through his ankle. He collapsed, clutching it. The doctor's verdict, a sprain. Not career-ending, but weeks off the court. Ethan sat in his room, ball in his lap, fury in his eyes. Why now? Why when I was getting close? Reynolds visited. Champions don't cry over time lost. They use the time to grow stronger. So Ethan studied film. He watched games for hours, memorizing plays, analyzing moves. His mind sharpened while his body healed. Return of the fire. 6 weeks later, the ankle held. Ethan returned with more hunger than ever. He was faster, smarter, calmer. During a scrimmage, he stole the ball from Jason and drove coast to coast, finishing with a layup over the bigger boy. The gym erupted. "Who's laughing now?" someone shouted. Jason glared, but Ethan just jogged back on defense, silent, focused. He didn't need words. His game spoke louder. Closing part 2. Ethan's journey was far from over. He had tasted rejection, injury, and ridicule, yet he stood taller each time. The boy who once missed every shot now looked like a rising star. But the real test, making the team, proving himself in real competition, still lay ahead. And Ethan was ready. Hello again, my dear friends. Glowing star. We're now at the third part of Ethan's journey. Thank you for listening and staying with this story. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps bring more inspiring stories like this one to life. I wish you strength, focus, and positivity as you continue with me. Let's dive in. Basketball sparkles. Tryouts, again. The next year's tryouts were brutal. Dozens of players filled the gym, each one bigger, faster, and hungrier than the last. Ethan remembered last year's humiliation, his name missing from the list. But this year, he was different. Stronger legs, sharper handles, a fire that couldn't be mocked out of him. Reynolds leaned against the wall, arms crossed, watching his student. "Show them," he mouthed. And Ethan did. He dove for loose balls, hustled on defense, drained jumpers under pressure. He wasn't the flashiest. He wasn't the tallest. But no one outworked him. When the final list went up, Ethan's heart raced. He scanned the names, and there it was. Ethan Carter, varsity team. The bench warmer. But making the team didn't mean glory. Ethan's role was small. He sat on the bench most games, only subbing in during blowouts. Jason was still captain, still hogging the spotlight. Some nights, Ethan's spirit sank. What's the point? I work harder than anyone, but I'm still a bench warmer. Reynolds reminded him, your time will come. Stay ready. Champions don't complain about minutes, they prepare for them. So Ethan kept training. Before practice. After practice. At night, when lights were off, he sneaked into the gym, perfecting his shot in the dark. The breakthrough. Mid-season, during a heated game, Jason rolled his ankle. Panic hit the team. The coach turned to the bench. Carter, you're in. Ethan's stomach knotted, but he jogged onto the court. The crowd roared, half cheering, half skeptical. The opposing team smelled weakness, pressing hard. Ethan fumbled at first, nearly turning the ball over. Laughter echoed from the stands. But then he remembered Reynolds' voice. Breathe. Play your game. Next possession, Ethan crossed over his defender, drove hard, and finished with a layup. The crowd gasped. He followed it with a mid-range jumper. Then a steal. By the fourth quarter, the gym was chanting his name. Ethan, 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 the pressure cooker. With seconds left, the game was tied. Coach drew up a play for Ethan. You're hot. Take the shot. Jason, sitting on the bench with his wrapped ankle, glared. Don't mess this up, rookie. The ball was inbounded. Ethan dribbled, heart pounding, sweat dripping. 3 seconds. 2. He stepped back, released. The ball arced, hung in the air, and, swish. The buzzer sounded. The crowd erupted. Ethan's teammates mobbed him. For the first time, he wasn't the kid who dreamed in the shadows. He was the hero. Recognition. The next day, the local paper read a headline, Benchwarmer Carter saves the game. At school, kids who once mocked him slapped his back. Teachers congratulated him. Even his father, though still skeptical, muttered, not bad, son. But Ethan didn't let it go to his head. Reynolds warned him. One shot doesn't make a career. Keep grinding. And grind he did. Game after game, he earned more minutes, more trust. By season's end, he was a starter. The rivalry. Jason never forgave Ethan. Practices grew tense, full of elbows and trash talk. Jason mocked him constantly. You think you're the star now? Don't forget who runs this team. Ethan stayed silent, letting his game answer. Every time Jason tried to bully him, Ethan rose higher. Stronger. Smarter. But the rivalry pushed Ethan further than ever. He no longer wanted to just be good. He wanted to be the best. Sacrifices. While others partied or hung out after school, Ethan lived in the gym. His social life was thin, his grades sometimes shaky. Lena, a quiet girl from his class who often sat in the bleachers writing poetry, once asked him, "Why do you push yourself so hard?" "Because this is who I am," Ethan said. "If I stop, I lose more than a game. I lose myself." She nodded, a small smile tugging her lips. "Then I hope you never stop." It was the start of something new in Ethan's life, not just basketball, but connection, hope, maybe even love. Closing part 3. Ethan had gone from a boy with a crooked rim to the boy who hit the game-winning shot. He had earned respect, but also enemies. He had tasted victory, but also sacrifice. And as college scouts began to whisper his name, Ethan knew the road was only getting harder. But he was ready. Hello again, my wonderful listeners. Glowing Star. We've reached the final chapter of Ethan's story. Thank you for staying with me until now. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share this story with your friends. Your support truly keeps these stories alive and growing. I wish you joy, courage, and inspiration as we finish this journey together. Basketball sparkles. New heights. By senior year, Ethan was no longer the benchwarmer. He was the team's engine, the one who hustled hardest, defended toughest, and scored when it mattered most. The same kids who once laughed at him now cheered his name. Coaches praised his work ethic. Scouts visited games, whispering into their phones, scribbling notes whenever Ethan made a play. But with success came pressure. Every game mattered, every shot was judged, and Jason, though still on the team, resented every second of Ethan's rise. The breaking point. One night, during practice, Jason shoved Ethan hard. "You think you're better than me? You'll never be a real star." Ethan hit the floor but got back up. Instead of fighting back with fists, he played harder. By the end of scrimmage, Ethan had scored nearly every point against Jason's defense. Reynolds blew the whistle. "Enough. Ethan, you've earned the captain's armband." Jason stormed out of the gym, rage burning in his eyes. For Ethan, it wasn't about humiliating Jason. It was about proving, once and for all, that hard work beats arrogance. The championship run. The season built to the state playoffs. Ethan led his team game after game, his determination contagious. He dove across hardwood floors, hit clutch shots, lifted teammates when they doubted themselves. But the final was different. The arena was packed, cameras flashing, pressure suffocating. Early on, Ethan struggled. His shots rimmed out, his passes got intercepted. The team fell behind by 10. Doubt crept in. During the timeout, Reynolds leaned close. "Remember the boy with the crooked rim. Remember why you started. Forget the crowd. Play for the love." Ethan closed his eyes, breathing deep. When play resumed, he was free again. The moment. Fourth quarter. Game tied. 5 seconds left. The ball found Ethan's hands. He dribbled once, twice, stepped back. Jason, still his rival, leapt to block him. But Ethan rose higher, releasing the shot at the buzzer. The ball sailed, spinning, glowing under the arena lights. Time slowed. The crowd held its breath. Swish. The buzzer echoed. Victory. His teammates mobbed him, lifting him onto their shoulders. The underdog had led them to glory. After the whistle. That night, Ethan sat alone outside the arena, medal around his neck, the roar of the crowd still ringing in his ears. Lena appeared, holding 2 cups of hot chocolate. She sat beside him. "You did it," she said softly. Ethan smiled, exhausted but alive. "We did it." She looked at him with quiet admiration. "You proved everyone wrong." Ethan shook his head. "No, I proved myself right." Beyond high school, letters from colleges poured in. Scholarships, opportunities, a chance to play at the next level. His father, once doubtful, finally clasped his son's shoulder. "You've made me proud, Ethan. I was wrong. You weren't chasing a dream. You were chasing your destiny." Ethan hugged him, tears stinging his eyes. It wasn't about revenge. It was about love, persistence, and belief. The legacy. Years later, Ethan would tell kids in his own training camps the same words Reynolds once told him. Champions are made when nobody's watching. Dreams don't care if you're small, poor, or doubted. They only care if you refuse to quit. He wasn't just a player anymore. He was a mentor, a symbol of resilience, a living reminder that greatness is born not from talent alone, but from heart. Closing Part 4. Ethan's story wasn't perfect. He faced rejection, injury, bullying, rivalry, and doubt. But through it all, he never let go of the ball, or his dream. From a crooked rim above his garage to the bright lights of championships, Ethan became more than the best basketball player. He became a fighter, a believer, and an inspiration. And now, my friends, I leave you with this. Whatever your dream is, hold on to it. Work for it. Rise after every fall. Because like Ethan, you too can become unstoppable.